Have you ever stared at your phone, wondering why the same girl who responds instantly when you text never texts you first? You're not alone, but you're also not in control. She replies, but she never reaches out. You're always the one chasing. Your pride's taken hits. Your self-worth's hanging by a thread. You're wondering, is it me? Did I do something wrong? No, you're being strung along. And I'm going to tell you why. But more importantly, I'm going to show you how to take your power back. Comment, I choose self-respect. Number 1, she likes the attention. She doesn't miss you. She misses the way your texts make her feel wanted without having to earn any of it. She doesn't crave your presence, but your validation, your effort, your energy, the way you constantly affirm her without her lifting a finger. And the moment you remove that attention, she doesn't feel loss. She feels inconvenience because her free supply just paused. This has nothing to do with love, interest, or even mild care. It's control. It's emotional manipulation dressed in casual replies. It's the low-risk, high-reward game she plays where you do all the work and she gets all the benefits. Think about it. Every time you text her first, compliment her, ask about her day, send her memes or check on her well-being, you're doing something her own friends, family, or even the guy she actually wants doesn't do for her, and instead of appreciating it, she stores it away like currency she didn't have to work for. She replies when it suits her. She takes the ego hit and turns it into a power trip. She reads your message and decides when you're worth engaging with and when you're not. And because you've trained her that she never needs to initiate for your attention, she knows she doesn't need to try. You're always there, consistent, reliable, available. She's conditioned to see you not as a potential partner, but as a utility, something she taps into when she's bored, lonely, in need of a pick-me-up, or when her real options fall silent. And here's what hurts. You confuse her replies for interest. You interpret her minimal effort as hidden feelings. You romanticize her crumbs into a full meal you think is waiting around the corner. And every time you do that, you dig yourself deeper into the role of emotional backup. And I get it. You're afraid to pull away, afraid she'll forget you. But the truth is, if she forgets you the moment you stop trying, she never valued you in the first place. She liked the light you gave off when you shined it all on her, not the source of it, you. And here's where your mindset needs to change. Attention is a resource, and you're not a charity. Stop giving it to people who haven't earned it, because the more freely you offer your energy, the less it's respected. Your worth becomes invisible to someone who's always had it on tap. And this is where Stoic discipline kicks in, not in becoming cold or distant, but in controlling your reactions, in choosing when and where your energy flows, in understanding that not every person who smiles at your texts deserves your time. And yes, it will feel difficult to stop texting first. It will feel uncomfortable to step back, but that discomfort is the necessary pressure that forms strength. It's the forge that teaches self-respect. Every time you resist the urge to reach out first, you reclaim a part of yourself she's been quietly harvesting. And eventually, she'll notice, not because she misses you, but because she misses the feeling of being wanted. And that's the key moment where your silence teaches her something your words never could. You're not desperate, you're not waiting, you're not begging, you're choosing. And that kind of self-control is rare. It breaks the cycle. It rewrites the rules. It places you in a position of power where you're no longer chasing someone who sits on a throne made from your own lowered standards. Because truthfully, if she liked you back, you wouldn't be watching this video. You wouldn't be trying to decode mixed signals. You'd be sharing laughter, sharing plans, and both initiating with excitement. But since you're not, it's time to own that. Not in bitterness, but in clarity. In silence that speaks louder than any message. In action that says, I am no longer available for one-sided interest. And once you internalize that, once you live that standard consistently, you'll find your time, your mind, and your energy returning to you, ready to be invested in people who actually reciprocate. And that's when everything changes, not because she finally texts you first, but because you no longer need her to. And once you feel that, you stop fearing rejection, because you realize your self-worth isn't up for debate. It's not tied to someone's replies, to someone's temporary attraction or momentary confusion. It's locked in, and from that place, your energy becomes so potent, so rooted, that people either rise to meet you or fade away quietly. And you don't chase, not out of ego, but because you finally understand, real connection doesn't need to be begged for. It flows both ways, and anyone unsure about you is already making a choice, and your only job is to respect it and walk the hell away. That's where the Stoic relationship blueprint comes in, a life-changing guide built to help you live in this clarity permanently, not just in moments of frustration. It's now available in audiobook format, so you don't even have to pause your life to absorb the wisdom. Plug in while walking, training, driving, and let it sink into every part of your decision-making, your confidence, your mindset. This isn't just a book, it's a standard, a personal code, a manual to never again tolerate one-sided love, to never again confuse attention with affection. The link is in the comments. Get it, own it, and remember, it's yours forever. So is the self-respect it unlocks. Number 2, she's unsure about you. She doesn't text you first because she's still debating whether you're worth the chase, not because you're not valuable, but because she doesn't yet believe she has to act like it to keep you around. She's in that limbo space where she doesn't want to lose you, but she also doesn't feel the need to win you, and that right there is the silent killer of your self-worth. That place where she gives you enough to hope, but never enough to believe, enough to stay, but never enough to settle. And you feel it every time she replies, late, dry, or with disinterest coated in politeness. The emotional purgatory of maybes, where every reply feels like a breadcrumb, and every silence a passive rejection you're too scared to call out. Because the truth is, you think giving her more will make her sure. You think showing more patience, more care, more presence will tip the scale. But the truth is that effort doesn't convince the unsure. It confirms their power. She doesn't need to choose you when you've already chosen her so completely, when you've made your availability a constant and your desire so obvious she no longer needs to wonder. And in modern dating, mystery isn't a game. It's a survival instinct. And right now, you're the open book in a world addicted to unread messages. She's unsure because she doesn't feel the need to be sure, because every time she delays a reply, you still message again. Every time she avoids a plan, you still try to set one up. Every time she goes cold, you heat up the conversation again, hoping this time she'll finally give you the attention you've been earning over and over again, without ever being rewarded. And that's where most people lose, thinking that emotional generosity leads to emotional reciprocity. But the hard truth is that someone unsure about you will never become sure through comfort. They only become sure when confronted with the possibility of losing you. And that doesn't come from a dramatic goodbye or some manipulative silence. It comes from internal conviction that you're not meant to sit in someone's uncertainty while your value gets diluted through their indecision. It comes from the Stoic principle of choosing detachment over desperation, presence over pleasing, clarity over confusion. Because when you continue showing up for someone who doesn't match your effort, you become a placeholder, not a partner. You become the person they emotionally lean on while they chase someone else who doesn't respond. And the reason she replies but never initiates is because deep down, she knows she has you. But she's still looking for someone she feels she might lose. And if that doesn't make your chest tighten with recognition, you're not being honest with yourself because you've felt it. When her text comes hours later, shorter, colder, and you still smile because at least she replied, that dopamine hit, that blinds you from the fact that her response isn't a step forward, it's a leash lengthened, and the worst part is you've probably made excuses for her, told yourself she's busy, shy, healing, or just not good with texting, because it's easier to believe that than to accept she's not choosing you. But now you know better, and with that knowledge comes responsibility. The responsibility to stop pouring into cracked containers, to stop attaching hope to effort that's not reciprocated, to stop being the bridge for someone who won't cross it. And yes, it hurts. Yes, you'll feel empty pulling away from someone who's occupied your thoughts for weeks or months, but that's the pain of detoxing from an illusion, not the pain of real loss. And once you feel that and survive it, you unlock something most never do: the ability to walk away without needing to burn anything down, without explanations, without grand final texts, just a quiet, powerful withdrawal of energy that says, I know my worth and I no longer negotiate it. And that's when your value doubles, not in her eyes, but in your own. That's when the tables turn, because she'll notice the shift, not in what you say, but in what you no longer respond to, no longer accept, no longer chase. She'll notice when the replies stop coming, when the validation runs dry, when your attention is gone and not coming back because you finally realized you were the one with the power all along. And even if she doesn't come back, even if she never texts you first, it won't matter, because you'll be too busy being pursued by people who don't need convincing, too busy living with purpose instead of waiting in uncertainty, too focused on becoming the kind of person who walks into rooms like they own them, not someone who tiptoes around text threads like a ghost in his own love story. And if you want to build that strength, that presence, it starts with small decisions. It starts with deleting the draft you were about to send, ignoring the urge to just check in, sitting with the discomfort of being forgotten by someone you gave your heart to, and realizing that the discomfort doesn't kill you. It frees you. It builds something inside you that no one can take away again. And once you feel that, you stop fearing rejection, because you realize your self-worth isn't up for debate. It's not tied to someone's replies, to someone's temporary attraction or momentary confusion. It's locked in, and from that place, your energy becomes so potent, so rooted, that people either rise to meet you or fade away quietly. And you don't chase, not out of ego, but because you finally understand. Real connection doesn't need to be begged for. It flows both ways. And anyone unsure about you is already making a choice, and your only job is to respect it and walk the hell away. Number 3, she's been hurt before. Pain is often real, but how it's used is what reveals a person's character. And when someone holds on to their past hurt like a weapon, the relationship dynamic becomes one-sided, draining and suffocating. You end up trying to fix what someone else broke, offering patience where they offer distance, giving reassurance where they give silence, constantly walking on eggshells, hoping that one day your consistency will convince them that not everyone is out to hurt them. And you tell yourself to hold on a little longer, to love a little harder, to wait for the day they finally open up. But it never comes, because the truth is that pain becomes power when left unchecked. It becomes a justification to keep people close without ever getting close, a tool to deflect responsibility, and a shield that prevents accountability. And while empathy is noble, blind empathy is self-destruction, because when you absorb the weight of their past, you delay your own future, trying to become the exception to their rule. While they treat you as disposable, emotional damage does not give someone the right to keep you in emotional limbo, no matter how tragic their story is. If they consistently hold back, stay guarded, refuse to communicate or initiate effort, that is no longer about what happened to them. It's about how they choose to treat you now, and what's worse is the manipulation disguised as vulnerability. The classic, "I've been hurt, so I move differently" line, which often just means, "I refuse to try, but I expect you to." And so you become their emotional punching bag. the one they test, the one they ignore when they feel triggered, the one they expect to be perfect while offering nothing in return, and slowly you lose yourself in the process of trying to be safe enough, kind enough, available enough for someone who won't even take the risk to say, "How was your day?" without making it feel like a task. This isn't healing, this is punishment. This is making you pay for sins you didn't commit. And the truth is, if someone truly wanted to grow from their hurt, they'd be doing the work. They'd be reading, reflecting, building self-awareness, learning how to communicate instead of shutting down, because being hurt isn't your fault. But staying hurt while refusing to grow is a choice, and people who choose to remain stuck cannot be carried to clarity, not by your love, your consistency, or your devotion. And here's what happens. You end up internalizing their walls as your inadequacy. You start thinking maybe you're the reason they're closed off. Maybe if you were more patient, more charming, more understanding, they'd finally trust you. But this is where Stoic truth becomes your sword. Someone's pain does not entitle them to your peace. Someone's broken past does not give them a license to keep you on emotional probation indefinitely, because real healing looks like effort, not silence, growth, not ghosting, accountability, not excuse-making. And if they won't even text first, won't even show basic human interest under the disguise of being traumatized, then what they really want is control, not connection. They want access without obligation, support without reciprocity, and you're giving it to them every single time you check in first, every single time you accommodate their emotional inconsistency, every time you make excuses for their coldness. The truth is, they don't want a relationship. They want the emotional benefits of one without showing up, and the moment you stop feeding it, the power shifts. The moment you stop enabling it with your soft-hearted need to fix them, they face the only thing that forces real growth, consequence. And if they don't step up, if they fade into silence the moment you stop initiating, you've just been given the answer they've been avoiding giving you. They weren't hurt too badly to love. They were just too entitled to try. And your job now isn't to regret the time you wasted. It's to make that time mean something by never repeating the pattern, by choosing partners who lead with honesty, not history, who show up without being prompted, who communicate without being coaxed. Because when you accept emotional unavailability as something you have to work around, you shrink your value, you train yourself to accept crumbs, and over time, you lose sight of what effort even looks like. So take your energy back. Pull it from the people who see vulnerability as weakness, who use trauma as a wall instead of a reason to grow, and reinvest it into silence, not as punishment, but as peace, into boundaries, not as distance, but as self-respect, into action, not as reaction, but as clarity, because the only way to stop repeating this cycle is to outgrow the version of you that tolerates it, to become so centered, so clear in what you accept and what you don't, that the next time someone tries to give you trauma wrapped in romantic potential, you smile, walk away, and never look back. Number 4. She's not emotionally invested. Conversations feel one-sided, not because you're bad at communicating, but because the energy is off, the effort isn't matched, the intention isn't mutual. And when someone isn't emotionally invested, everything they give you feels transactional, shallow, and timed. Not because they're naturally dry, but because their interest isn't rooted in any real desire to build with you. What you experience isn't emotional minimalism. It's disinterest dressed in politeness, replies without depth, presence without emotion, availability without real care. You keep trying to dig gold from an empty well, convincing yourself that if you just stay consistent enough, loyal enough, positive enough, eventually something meaningful will grow. But it doesn't. And the longer you stay in it, the more you start questioning your own worth, not realizing you're pouring into someone who emotionally clocked out a long time ago, someone who doesn't even bother asking how you are unless it fits into the narrative they're maintaining, and yet you hold on because the moments where they show tiny glimpses of affection feel like everything. But that's how emotional breadcrumbs work. They condition you to stay hungry for the bare minimum, for cold replies you interpret as warmth, for occasional emojis you mistake as love. For interest that only exists when you initiate it, you're stuck in a loop where your self-esteem is tied to someone else's laziness, hoping that one day they'll wake up and realize your value, when the truth is they already see it. They just don't care enough to act on it. And it's not because they're damaged or complicated. It's because people don't invest in what they don't fear losing. And right now, you're too available, too predictable, too constant. There's no mystery, no space, no pause to create reflection, and emotional investment is never built on convenience. It's built on choice, on prioritization, on action. And if you find yourself doing all the emotional heavy lifting, you're not in a relationship. You're in emotional servitude, and that's the root of your burnout. The exhaustion that comes from trying to make someone care, from trying to create something meaningful out of one-sided consistency, from trying to keep the conversation alive when you're the only one breathing into it. This isn't love, it's emotional masochism, the type where you know deep down they're not meeting you halfway, but the fear of letting go makes you double your effort, thinking if you can just be better, stronger, more patient, more supportive, they'll finally show up. But all that does is train them to do even less, to invest even less. Because you're carrying both ends of the connection, their detachment grows with every unanswered message, every delayed response, every dry lol that gets a full paragraph from you. And if you zoom out, you'll realize you've become the emotional supplier in a connection that offers you no intimacy, no depth, no genuine desire. And the most dangerous part is how normalized it becomes. How you start telling yourself, this is what love looks like now, that this is modern dating, that maybe you're asking for too much, when in reality you're asking for the bare minimum, reciprocity, clarity, presence, and the solution is brutal but beautiful. You pull back, not to play games, but to regain clarity. You stop texting first, stop checking in, stop initiating conversation and observe, not from bitterness but from truth. If the connection dies, it wasn't real. It was you resuscitating a fantasy, and if they reach out, match their energy, not out of revenge but out of dignity. Don't reward temporary effort with permanent access. Don't confuse regret with love. And this is where Stoic action transforms everything. By choosing emotional stillness over chaos, clarity over need, purpose over approval. Because the moment you stop begging for attention, you begin demanding respect without words, without confrontation, just by your absence, by your silence, by your new standard that says, I no longer chase what doesn't value me. And watch what happens. Watch how your energy changes, how you start attracting different conversations, different people, different respect. Because when you stop trying to prove your worth becomes undeniable, not because they validate it, but because you finally own it without compromise. Number 5, she knows you'll always text first. Patterns speak louder than promises, and when someone gets used to being prioritized without ever needing to earn it, they stop seeing that attention as meaningful and start seeing it as entitlement. It becomes routine to expect your message, your check-ins, your morning texts, your effort, because they know you'll show up regardless of how little they give. The dynamic is set, and without even realizing it, you've become the default initiator, the person who holds the connection together while they get to relax into passive engagement. And this isn't about who texts first as a game. It's about how power is distributed in your communication. Because in a space where one person gives and the other responds out of convenience, the one who gives is always at the mercy of the other's timing, attention, and interest. It's emotional inequality in its most normalized form, and the longer you allow it, the more permanent it becomes, until they begin to subconsciously devalue you, not because you're unworthy, but because you've placed yourself in a lower position by always initiating, by always pursuing, by making your presence predictable, and predictable isn't respected. It's managed, it's tolerated, it's expected without gratitude. And when you reach out first every single time, you strip away the tension that builds attraction. You remove the space that allows someone to miss you, to think of you, to wonder where you are, and eventually you become emotionally invisible, not because you're not showing up, but because you're showing up too much, too easily, too often. And this is where your self-awareness has to intervene, because there's a fine line between being consistent and being desperate, between being emotionally available and being emotionally obedient. And you've crossed it every time you hit send knowing she hasn't responded to the last one, every time you initiate plans, knowing she's never once suggested one, every time you talk yourself into believing maybe she's just shy, or maybe she's bad at texting, when in reality she's just used to you doing the work. And the reason she doesn't text first is because you've never let her need to. You've removed the opportunity for her to step forward, to initiate, to pursue. And so she doesn't. Not because she can't, but because she doesn't have to. And it's in that allowance where your respect dies, not in her eyes but in your own, because you start to notice how low you're willing to go for just a little bit of attention. You start to feel the imbalance, the emotional drought you're covering up with forced positivity and wishful thinking. And this is where you either reclaim your power or keep bleeding for someone who never asked you to, but never stopped you either. And the solution is simple but uncomfortable. Stop texting first. Stop showing up before you're even noticed missing. Stop being the bridge, the glue, the reminder, the initiator. And yes, it will feel strange at first. The silence will feel like rejection. The lack of response will feel personal. But that's not rejection. That's revelation. That's clarity. That's truth. Finally speaking louder than your fantasy, because if they never reach out once you stop, you weren't building something together. You were building alone, and that truth is painful, but pain is not your enemy. It's your compass. It shows you where to stop pouring your time, your care, your love, and Stoic wisdom teaches you that action is not just about doing. It's about choosing when not to, when to remove your energy, when to sit back and observe instead of react, when to let silence reveal more than any text ever could. And once you begin that shift, something powerful happens. Your self-respect returns, your emotional clarity sharpens, your peace expands, and you start to attract different energy, not because others change, but because your standard has. Because you're no longer the man who chases breadcrumbs with paragraphs, who trades his peace for a single reply, who sacrifices his dignity for one more day of false hope. You're the one who knows that presence is a privilege, not a guarantee, and that those who don't value it lose access to it, not in anger, but in evolution, not in revenge, but in self-preservation, because if someone isn't willing to start a conversation, they have no place in your life's most intimate dialogue. And once you live that truth, you stop checking your phone wondering why she hasn't messaged. You start checking in with yourself, asking why you ever thought you had to chase to be loved in the first place. Number 6. You're not her only option. Reality hits hard when you finally accept that you're not the only one in her inbox, not the only one she talks to, not the only one feeding her attention, compliments, validation. And the reason she doesn't text first isn't because she's shy, busy, or bad with communication. It's because she doesn't have to, because her phone's always lighting up with new options, new names, new numbers, new fans trying to do what you're doing and probably doing it harder, faster, more confidently. And even if they're not better than you in character, intention, or loyalty, they're louder in her notifications. And that's often enough to keep her distracted and detached, because attention is currency now, and the one who gives it freely without requiring reciprocation always ends up broke emotionally, and you feel it every time you send a text and get no reply until hours later. Every time you try to set a date and get hit with, "I'll let you know." Every time you pour energy into a conversation that dies the second you stop keeping it alive. You're not dealing with lack of interest. You're dealing with competition where you're the only one playing by rules of loyalty and depth, while others treat it like a game of numbers and impressions. And as painful as it is to hear, you're probably not the main character in her story. You're the supporting role, the side quest, the emotional placeholder, until something she deems better or more exciting becomes consistent enough to earn her full focus. And until that happens, she keeps you around just enough to not lose you, but never enough to fully choose you, breadcrumbing you with replies, keeping you emotionally tethered without ever giving you solid ground to stand on. And the crazy part is, you feel it. Deep down, you know you're not being prioritized. You sense the shift in tone, the cold energy, the late replies, the lack of curiosity, the absence of effort. But you ignore it because you're afraid to admit what it really means. That you've been demoted in her mind, that your access isn't exclusive, and that every time you chase, every time you follow up, every time you initiate contact, you further prove your position at the bottom of a list she doesn't even pretend to hide anymore. And this is the part where people either wake up or continue bleeding for someone who has multiple safety nets, multiple distractions, multiple sources of validation, while you've made her your only one. That imbalance is not romantic. It's dangerous to your self-worth, because you start believing that this is all you're worth. Occasional attention, temporary connection, and a permanent seat in the maybe zone. But the second you start living with clarity, everything shifts. You stop wondering why she's distant and start questioning why you stayed loyal to someone who didn't earn it. You stop chasing and start observing. You stop trying to win someone who doesn't even know how to value presence. And you learn that being someone's option is never a compliment. It's a sign that your boundaries need reinforcement, your self-respect needs sharpening, and your standards need to become non-negotiable. Because when you operate with Stoic discipline, your emotions don't lead your actions. Your clarity does. And clarity shows you that if you're not being prioritized, you're being positioned for convenience, and convenience is the enemy of depth, of love, of respect. And the truth is, you can't control how many people are in her DMs, but you can control how you respond to being treated like one of them. And the way you do that isn't with anger, confrontation, or trying to prove your worth. It's by removal, by redirection, by refusing to compete for a place in someone's life who wouldn't compete for you. And this isn't about games. This is about growth. It's about choosing peace over confusion, choosing solitude over shared attention, choosing purpose over chasing. And once you make that choice, you stop caring who else she talks to, because she's no longer someone you're trying to impress. She's just someone who revealed her standards. And now it's your job to walk away with yours intact. Because when you step back with confidence, not bitterness, not pettiness, but calm detachment, you communicate something no text ever could. You're done being an option. You're done giving access without reciprocation. You're done playing loyal in a connection that doesn't even make you feel seen. And from that moment forward, everything changes. Not because she changes, but because you do. And once you truly embrace that, you become unreachable to the version of yourself that ever begged for love in places that only gave you doubt. The world won't tell you this, but you were never supposed to find out how much power you lose chasing someone who only wants your attention, not your presence. Society thrives when you stay distracted, emotionally weak, stuck in cycles of silence and second-guessing, pouring your time into people who wouldn't even notice if you disappeared. That ends now. The Stoic relationship blueprint is the manual they don't want in your hands. Because once you internalize these timeless Stoic principles, you stop being easy to manipulate. You stop tolerating confusion. You stop wasting years. And now, for the first time, it's available as an audiobook, so you can absorb this transformation while walking, training, commuting, living. No more excuses. The link's in the comments. If you're ready to claim this for life, and you should be, comment, "I'm choosing clarity," like this video, and subscribe to help more men escape these traps and save years they'll never get back.